There's like an 8-foot person beside it, and another one's inside, and it has big eyes and looking at us, and it's still there.
Okay, where is this on your property?
In my backyard. I swear to God, this is not a joke. This is actually, we're terrified of it.
So there's two people or two subjects that are in your backyard?
Correct, and they're very large. They're like 8 foot, 9 feet, 10 foot. I don't know. They look like aliens to us. Big eyes. They have big eyes, like I can't explain it. And big mouth. They're shiny eyes, and they're not human. They're 100% they're not human.
Welcome to Extraterrestrial Reality. Dan Aykroyd, the famous actor and comedian, has recently talked about the Las Vegas alien incident of 2023 on his series The Unbelievable with Dan Aykroyd, which is on the History Channel. But with regards to this, I have some good news, then I have some bad news, but then I have some good news. Let's talk about the first good news first. It's just the fact that Dan Aykroyd, who's someone who's been interested in UFOs for a long time, he's talked about this publicly for decades. He has a great interest in this phenomenon, and he's in this series. It's in its third season right now. It's called The Unbelievable with Dan Aykroyd. It's on the History Channel. And they talked about it. And I want to say thank you out there to Brian, one of my subscribers. He was the one who let me know about this in an email. I really haven't been paying attention to that series. Because it's the History Channel. I don't really have much interest in these series anymore on the History Channel, especially after what happened earlier this year with there was an episode of The Proof Is Out There that pretty much tried to make it look like there's nothing to this case, the Las Vegas case. And then there was another follow-up episode on Ancient Aliens where they spent a couple of minutes on it and did not come close to giving it justice whatsoever. They don't talk in any of those episodes, right? Those two previous shows I just talked about, there was no mention whatsoever of the 1 minute and 41 second long cell phone footage filmed by the Kenmore family that night, where after a close examination of that footage, it shows that there were aliens in the backyard. And we know that that cell phone footage wasn't fake because we have experts like Scott Roeder, the crime scene reconstruction expert from Ohio, telling us that it wasn't fake, that the video was authentic, and that there were non-human intelligent beings within that video that you could see. And I just did a show recently where I showed at least 20 of them, more than 20. There were more than 20 beings that I talked about in a recent episode. But here we go again. Now, unfortunately, on this show with Dan Aykroyd, The Unbelievable, they spent I wrote it down. They spent 3.6 minutes on it. It was about 20 minutes into this episode. It was the first episode of season 3. It was the episode was called Strange Sightings. They spent 3.6 minutes on the Vegas case, the biggest story of all time as far as I'm concerned. I can't see what else could be bigger. It proves we're not alone, right? There's no question about it. They talked about a couple of different things. They talked about how NASA stated that the object that came down from the sky was just a meteor and that it probably crashed hundreds of miles away in the ocean, and that the Vegas Police Department installed surveillance cameras on the property after the incident happened, but didn't capture any aliens. Like, oh, it was after the incident. The incident happened when the police showed up over an hour after the family called 911. The beings and the craft were apparently gone. So what good was the security camera, the Homeland Security camera that was installed? What good was it? It wasn't going to capture anything at that point, right? So, but they didn't make a big deal out of it. They didn't talk about the cell phone footage. They didn't really talk about a lot of different important elements to this story. They showed some of the body cam footage of the police officers interviewing the family that night. They showed the body cam footage that showed the object falling from the sky that was captured by a different police officer in a different part of Las Vegas that night, right before the 911 call was made. But they just didn't make a big deal out of it. I have to wonder, I wonder if Dan Aykroyd even is aware. I highly doubt Dan Aykroyd is even aware of what this case, the implications of this case. I would have to imagine that the producers of this show, just like the producers of those previous episodes, I don't know if they're all related or they're the same people, probably not, but it doesn't matter. And The Proof Is Out There, and then in the Ancient Aliens episode, they had to know. In fact, I know that Ancient Aliens knew a lot more about this case because they interviewed Scott Roeder for almost 3 hours. They flew him out to Los Angeles. They knew all about it, right? They had a lot of different still images, pictures. They had this whole story that they could have talked about, but they didn't go there at all. They didn't talk about it at all. They made it sound like, yeah, maybe, maybe not. It could have been, and they didn't provide any evidence and only spent 2 minutes on it. Now we got 3.6 minutes on it on Dan Aykroyd's show. And I would have to think that he's probably not even aware of how important this case is. I would have to imagine that he's unaware of it. So that's the bad news here. The good news is that he talked about it. The bad news is that they dropped the ball again. Again, History Channel, 3 strikes, you're out, right? So that's 3 times this year that the History Channel presented a program talking about where it's mentioned about the Las Vegas alien incident, but they provide hardly any information. They provide half-assed versions of what happened there. They don't give the viewers the full story. It's unbelievable to me. I'll tell you what, these shows are appropriately named. It's unbelievable. Just this show's called The Unbelievable. The proof is out there. Yeah, the proof is out there, not on the proof is out there. And Ancient Aliens, that show is ancient. It's ancient. It's out of vogue here. I don't even know what's the point in watching these kinds of programs. It's just set up for pure entertainment. They don't want to cross the red line on these shows. These people, the producers, the people behind these programs, they have to know this. But I would have to imagine that Dan Aykroyd knew nothing about it. This was probably just something that was shown to him on a script, and he looked at it and just went along with it, having no clue how important this case really is. And they spent a lousy 3.6 minutes on it. So it's unfortunate, but that's just the way it is. So so there's the good news that Dan Aykroyd's talking about it. Maybe it sends more people to the internet looking for more information about it, maybe, and that's about it. Okay. But then, of course, they drop the ball. They don't provide enough information on it. It's just, they don't do this story service. This should be something that's people in the mainstream news should have been talking about it for a long time ago. Of course, the New York Times, I sent them a letter recently. It was over a week ago now. They never got back to me. They're not going to. It's being covered up. My channel is being suppressed. I could tell you right now, there's efforts to keep this tamped down. But here's some good news. I want to tell you this. There's a new channel that just recently, some guy on YouTube just started a new channel recently talking about UFOs, and he just did a show about this, and it's doing pretty good. It has almost 100 as of this recording. He has on this video that he made about the Vegas case, he has almost 100,000 views already. So there's a lot of people that are finding and learning about this for the first time. I was reading through his comments, and you can see a lot of positive comments, a lot of surprised people saying they can't believe no one else is talking about this. Similar comments that I've been getting on my show for the past 18, 19 months. And the name of this channel is called UFOs Truth in Tinfoil, and the name of the episode is Las Vegas Aliens 2023, What Really Happened. Now, this guy did a pretty decent show, and something that other people should be doing. I've been talking about this for a long time, too. There should be other channels talking about this. Finally, somebody sees what this case is and did a show that gives this incident the props that it deserves, right? So he basically provided an overview similar to some of the shows that I've done in the past on this. And there's a lot of people that never knew about this case, and that you could see in the comment section, they're just finding out about it now. That's what I'm saying. More people who have UFO channels should be talking about this case because it proves that we're not alone. There's no question about it. Right? When you put the totality of the evidence together, the 911 call, the object coming down from the sky, we see various different videos that show anomalous qualities to that object falling from the sky. It could not have been a meteor. And then you have the cell phone footage that shows aliens in the backyard. You have the family members reacting, getting scared out of the yard. This guy did a pretty good overview of the whole case, and I'm so glad that somebody else finally is out there giving it the attention that it deserves, because it's the biggest story of all time, folks. That's just the way it is. I know there's some people out there who hate this. They hate this story because it destroys their ability to try to make fun of people in the UFO community, right? There's some people out there who hate the idea of aliens being real, right? So when they see this, they're mad because they hate it. They dislike it. They don't want this to be real. But guess what, folks? It's too bad. It is real. It's just something we have to grow up and deal with here already. But it's unfortunate, you would think that Dan Aykroyd, I know he's someone who's most certainly interested in this, and I know he has a big interest in it. I've seen him on different shows, different interviews over the years. he loves this subject. He's fascinated by it, and I'm sure that if he would have known the full story of this Las Vegas incident, he wouldn't have agreed to do this little 3-minute segment that doesn't give that story the justice it deserves. I just don't think he would have. So I would have to say this falls at the feet of the producers who, hand him a script and say, "Here's what we're going to talk about next." And he probably knew nothing really about it. If he did, he wouldn't have just agreed to do something like this. I cannot make myself believe that. I think that he would have been someone that would have been, "Hey, what are we doing here? You can see there's real aliens here. This whole debate's over now." That's how he should be talking. That's what he would have been thinking. But apparently that's not what the History Channel wants to do. They want people to be wondering forever, right? Or who knows? Maybe they're playing along with the Pentagon. I have no idea what's. I don't know what the reasoning is behind it, but that's just the way it is. But the good thing is, like I said, there's another channel now, and this is only his 13th video, and I'll leave a link in the description so you can check it out. And the name of the video was Las Vegas Aliens 2023: What Really Happened, and the channel is called UFOs Truth in Tinfoil, right? So I give that guy accolades because he did a nice job with this. Somebody else out there who's making videos finally gets it, right? That's what it seemed like to me. It was like, thank God, right? I'm not the only one here now. There has to be more people doing this, more people who are interested in this subject. They should create their own channels, show the evidence, talk about the evidence, lay the whole story out. And this way, right, it's like a grassroots effort. You get more and more people in the world finding out about this. That's the way you do it. I'm just one little channel here, right? And it's hard to, if the algorithm doesn't pick it up, then it doesn't pick it up. There's only like, out of all if I have a playlist right now of 70 Las Vegas alien videos, the one that has been viewed the most was one from earlier this year when I did a story on the 2-year anniversary. And I talked about how some people just don't understand the significance of the case. And that video there is on YouTube. It's up to 180,000 views on there. That's the most I've gotten out of all those 70 videos. So now here we have another video from a different content creator who's almost at 100,000. And it seems like a lot of the people who are visiting his channel know nothing about this case. That's why I've been saying if more and more people would be talking about this on their shows, on their UFO shows, we'll get the word out. It's over. There's no debate anymore. We should be across the red line. It should be evident now to anyone out there that there's most certainly a cover-up by the government. The government has to know about this, right? I mean, we see aliens in the video. They're all over the place. I just did a show where I had 20 of them at the same time. You would think, people would be like, okay, this is it. It's over. How could it not be? So that's where we are, folks. And I just want to say, hopefully, Dan Aykroyd, I don't know whether he'll hear this. I hope he does. But that was junk. I mean, this is the biggest story of all time that you spent 3.5 minutes on, and they didn't really provide the information to viewers to let them know what really happened here. It was like up in the air, another proof is out there style or ancient history style presentation. Junk. Anyway. We're going to move on now. We're going to talk about recent polls, and we're going to start with the last poll I talked about when I talked about polls in a previous podcast. We're going to start with this one. It's going to be the first one we're going to talk about today because there's more people have voted on it since. And this was for the episode "More Than 20 NHI Beings Are in the Las Vegas Alien Video. See for Yourself." And I asked this question. What would you do if a craft loaded with NHI beings landed in your yard? There's 53 votes so far with 7 days left. Okay, this was multiple choice, so let's go through them. One person, or 1.9%, says that they would attempt to scare them away. Two people, or 3.8%, say they would fall to their knees and pray. Three people, or 5.7%, say they would run to the car and drive away. Okay, the next one would be 9 people, or 17%, say they would call the cops and stay put. 10 people, or 18.9%, say other. 12 people, or 22.6%, say they would attempt communication. And then 16 people, the majority, or 30.2%, say they would video record them and then run. Yeah, I think what I said before, and I'll say it again, I think I might try to attempt communication. I would also try to video record them and then run. But definitely I would want to try to video record them. I don't know which one I think I would try to attempt communication first. but that's easy to say sitting here without staring face to face with an alien, right? But I don't know. I'm going to go with other because I'd probably be multiple things out of this. I would probably try attempt communication, then video record them, and then run. Okay, that's probably so. So I'm going to go with other on that one. Okay, let's go to the next one. For the episode, user of psychedelic drugs never saw UFOs while high. While sober, he saw 3. Okay, this is the question I asked for this episode. Have you ever hallucinated seeing a UFO and or NHI being while under the influence of drugs or alcohol? Okay, there's 30 votes so far with 8 days left. 3 people or 10% say yes, while the majority, 27 people or 90% say no. Yeah, I'm with the majority here. I in my younger days, particularly, I would drink a lot. I never saw anything like that. No, I was always the time when I saw a UFO back in the mid 1990s. I was completely sober, and when I was a little kid in the 70s, of course, I was completely sober too when I saw the creature in my bedroom. All right, moving on. For the episode, We Come From Everywhere, E.T. tells Finnish man / subscribers submit Vegas alien discoveries. I asked this question. If aliens landed near your house and asked if you would join them and become one of them, would you accept the offer? 42 votes so far with 10 days left. Okay, 20 people or 47.6% say no, while 22 people or 52.4% say yes. I would have to say no, because I'm going to go with the minority, because I wouldn't want to. I'd miss my family too much, so I'm not gonna do that. But hey, some people say they would, you know. All right, moving on. For the episode, apparent effort to discredit Las Vegas alien incident falls apart. I asked this question. Was what this guy did a deliberate act to discredit the case? Okay, of course, this was the episode where I showed that that picture that this guy sent me. Said he found this creature within the video, and it turned out to be something that appeared in some documentary series back in the 2009, and basically he was trying to trick me, so I'd show it. I felt like it was a trick to try to have me put that on the show and say, here's another alien that I found in a Vegas video, and then it turns out that somebody discovers, no, this was from this TV show here, it's actually a drawing, and then it makes the whole case look bad. I think that, that was my feeling on it. Let's see what the people said here. 30 votes so far. Was it a deliberate act? 6 people or 20% say no, while the majority, 24 people or 80% say yes. Of course, I agree with the majority. I believe it was a deliberate act. I have no idea why that guy would have sent me something that was a drawing. I mean, and try to represent that it was something that he found within that cell phone footage. No way. Okay. For the episode, live stream of man injured by alleged cylinder UFO was a hoax. Of course, this was with regards to that guy named James who had a bunch of people fooled into thinking that he found this cylinder object and it was alien in nature. And then he did a live stream showing himself trying to cut it open or do something with it, and then a light showed up and he passed out, and then people thought he was dead. Anyway, I asked this question. I said, would you continue following a content creator who orchestrated a giant hoax on his or her audience, a hoax that you personally fell for? 24 votes so far. 0 people say yes. 0. 24 people or 100% say no. So most people would that would be it. They're out. Fool them once, shame on that person. Fool you twice. Okay, that would be shame on themselves. So yes, I don't blame you. If I was fooled by somebody like that, I wouldn't talk to them again. Like in real life, that would be it. Like, leave me alone. And if I'm watching somebody's YouTube channel and they play some sort of a hoax and especially one that I might fall for, that I would very much upset me, and that would be it. I would be done. Okay, moving on. For the episode, Ohio man menaced by angry ETs after reporting weird cryptid encounters to law enforcement. I asked this question. Is there a connection between Bigfoot creatures and extraterrestrials / NHI in your opinion? Okay, there's 28 votes so far with 16 days left. 8 people or 28.6% say no, while the majority, 20 people or 71.4% say yes. I think that there is, based on the reports. There's just so many different reports when you read the literature on this. And right here in Pennsylvania, there were a lot of reports of people seeing Bigfoot and UFOs at the same time. Apparently, these NHI have an interest in Bigfoot for some reason. I don't know what that connection is, but there seems to be some sort of a connection there. So yes, I agree with the majority on that one. All right. For the episode, review of The Age of Disclosure. I asked this question. Have you watched The Age of Disclosure? And if so, did you like it? Okay, there's 33 votes so far with 19 days left. All right. 2 people or 6.1% say yes and they disliked it. 4 people or 12.1% say no, they're not interested. 8 people or 24.2% say yes and I liked it. And then the majority say 19 people or 57.6% say no, but I plan to watch it. Yes. Yes, it was pretty expensive to buy or rent at this moment in time. To rent it, it was like $19.99, and to buy it, I ended up buying it on Amazon Prime, and it was $24.99. But you know, of course, I'm talking about UFOs here, so I pretty much had to buy it, and so I could review it and provide that review to people who follow my channel. So that's why I bought it, and that's, you know, I might have waited if I was just somebody out there. I might wait, but I do. You know, if you have the money and it's, you know, you have the money to burn, I don't think it's a bad idea to support something like this. I mean, there was a lot of work that went into that show, to that episode, to that documentary that was produced and directed by Dan Farah. And I think it was a significant documentary. I really do. I think it's something for the history book, something that people will be talking about and looking back upon years from now, along with other ones too. There's other documentaries I believe are significant. I think that the program from James Fox was significant. I think James Fox's other documentary, The Phenomenon, was very significant. That's my favorite ones at this point, I think. I think there was the one from Jeremy Corbell. There are a couple of them from Jeremy Corbell. The one about Bob Lazar was pretty good, but I really liked his Patient 17. I think that was very important, discussed the alien implants. But Age of Disclosure, where it really stands out about this, there were quite a number of different former and current members of the government, some of them scientists, some people in the Air Force, some people in the Navy, talking about their experiences, talking about the fact that there's a cover-up, that there's a legacy program, that this stuff has been deliberately being kept from the public. Yes, it's a significant documentary, no question about it. All right, for the episode, video evidence of aliens matches abductee drawings of aliens / New York Times alerted to proof of ETs. I asked this question: have you ever encountered a non-human intelligent being and later presented drawings to others of what you witnessed? Okay, 37 votes so far with 21 days left. Okay, only 4 people or 10.8% say yes. To those people who say yes, my email address is, I'll leave it in the description. If you have any drawings of what you saw, I would love to see drawings from, if anybody has any drawings or ever had an encounter with one of these beings, if you could provide a drawing, that would be great. I would love to do more shows about drawings of these creatures in the future. Okay, moving on here. 8 people or 21.6% say no, but I did see one. And then the majority, 25 people or 67.6% say no, they never encountered one. But we did get 32% saying they did see one. 4 people did draw what they saw for other people. So that's a good percentage. That's basically, there's 12 people who responded. That's a nice percentage who have actually encountered a non-human intelligent being. There's a lot of us out there, a lot of us. In fact, I was just there was a guy who's been sending me some emails of his experiences, and I hope to get some more from him. And he had an implant that he had removed. He had multiple implants. I want to get this guy's story, so I'm waiting for some more messages back. I can't wait to learn more about what his story is. All right, for the episode, Greer's assertion that terrifying ET encounters are government psyops is totally absurd. I asked this question: do you believe a government psyop is responsible for every reported terrifying ET encounter / abduction? 32 votes so far with 21 days left. Okay, 2 people or 6.3% say yes, while the majority, 30 people or 93.8% say no. Of course, I agree with the majority. I think the title of my episode said it all. I gave it away right there. It's totally absurd. It's nuts. It's absolutely crazy in my view. I mean, I had an encounter with one of these creatures when I was a kid. It was in my bedroom, right? Somehow everyone else in the house was conked out, right? My at the time it would have been my mom, my dad, 2 brothers and a sister. My other sister wasn't born yet. So yeah, they have the ability to do this, and it was terrifying. I was terrified, and you hear so many different stories. You read about all these other people who are abducted by aliens. In literature from people like David Jacobs, Bud Hopkins, John Mack, just so many different people have been talking about these encounters with these creatures, and so many times it's terrifying. So his idea, Greer's idea that it's a government psyop is absurd. I mean, it's impossible. Okay, for the most recent episode, Intimate Relations, Accounts of Men Forced to Procreate with Non-Human Intelligent Beings, I asked this question: do you believe aliens may have produced offspring using your reproductive cells? 25 votes so far with 23 days left. Wow. 9 people or 36% say yes, while the majority, 16 people or 64% say no. I'd have to go with the no's, but I don't know. I mean, I did see one. I don't know if they've been bugging me since that time. I saw a UFO up close in the mid-90s. I had an experience with one of these beings when I was a kid in the 70s. There was some other weird things that happened here and there, but I'm not sure about those. The only 2 that I'm sure of is those the one in the 70s and the one in the 90s. Boy, I hope not. But who knows? Could be. I was never hypnotized, so I don't know if they ever did anything to me like that, if they ever took samples from me. I hope not, but I don't even know if I want to know. I really don't know. I don't think I want to know. Anyway, I just want to say this, getting back to Dan Aykroyd, this is somebody, if he were to get behind this Vegas case and learn more about it, I don't think he knows this story. Again, I think it's being suppressed. I mean, I sent a letter to the Department of Defense, as well as a courtesy copy to the Department of Energy, summer of 2024, never got a response. So this was shortly after Scott Roeder made his analysis and he made it clear that this really happened and that video is authentic. Right after that, a couple of months after that, I sent that letter. I have not received any sort of a response, not even to tell me that they think I'm crazy. There was no debunker has ever debunked it. They won't even try. Mick West turned down $5,000 from Scott Roeder to try to refute it. He wouldn't do it. You see what the History Channel shows are doing, right? Now, you have 3 of them now. 3 times this year. It's unbelievable. Right? You see how they're treating it. They're treating it like it's not that important, like it's just like all the other cases they're talking about where there's not a lot of evidence, right? This one here is loaded with evidence, right? But they don't want to tell their viewers the full story about it for some reason. The New York Times, I sent a letter to them recently. Okay, it's been over a week now. I don't think I'll ever hear anything back from them. They won't even tell me I'm crazy. I actually reached out to the UAP caucus. They're not talking about it. Nobody wants to talk about this because everybody knows what it means. That's why. If anybody was to sit down and absorb the totality of the evidence with regard to this incident, that would take everybody across the red line. Everybody would know that this is a real phenomenon, that there are real non-human intelligent beings here. I think they're extraterrestrial. That doesn't make me right, but they're really here. There is something here. Right. And this story, this incident proves it. Right. There's no question about it. And I'm really glad, like I said before, to have channels like, what's it called again? UFOs, Truth in Tinfoil, taking it seriously and doing something nice, doing something good with the show, putting something decent together, providing an overview. That's what more people need to be doing. More and more creators out there should be doing this because the world needs to know. We need to get over this hump. It's enough of the games. And hopefully Dan Aykroyd finds out what's been going on here. It'd be nice. I always think because Stanton Friedman, he's passed away several years now. And, he was someone I talked to in the past. I believe if he would still be alive, this the whole world would have known about this case already. I really do believe that. He was someone who was open to communication. I know I could have talked to him. I've had trouble trying to reach out to other people. I sent email messages to people like Whitley Strieber, never got anything back. Of course, I'm sure he receives tens of thousands of emails every month from different people. So it's just, I'm just one little name in there. So I tried, you try, but you don't get anywhere. But I believe some of the bigger names in the UFO community, if they would start talking about this case and discussing what the implications of it and presenting all the evidence associated with it, then the whole world would know. You don't need someone from the government to step out. They don't want to, obviously, but if you get enough people talking about this case, you're going to force somebody in the government to come out and start talking about it. That's the whole point. That's why I can't believe the UAP caucus doesn't want to talk about this case, because they know what it means. Obviously, they don't want to. All these people are afraid to cross the line. They're afraid of the legacy program. Let the hell with it. It's too late. It's out in the public domain right now. It's over. It's over. Anyway, I just want to say this. I want to say thank you all for joining me today. Until next time.